Good morning. Morning. We've got, it is a bit odd to greet after we've already greeted, but I just kind of think for the video's sake we're saying hello. Right, in this test, this is a practice test. As I said, it will be pretty much exactly like what you're going to get for your test. And I always state that I should be able to finish a test that you guys are writing in about half the time. And I do feel that when you guys were doing this, you were taking too long. So you would have about 55 minutes, but let's say for the sake you have 50 minutes. So half of it should take me 25 minutes to complete this, and it's 50 minutes past 8 at the moment, roughly. Okay, so we're in a situation where this is my question paper. It says it should be, it should look like Appendix A. So I go to Appendix A, and that's kind of how it expects to be looked. And it says to me that there's a header, a section, article, nav, and footer. And it says that the article is contained inside the section. So if I look at this, okay, header, article 1, article 2, so it's contained in the section. So I'm assuming this this tan area on the outside, this is the section. It's got the nav area on the right, and it's got a footer at the bottom. Now, I'm not even going to bother with the details yet. I know what the content is. So I suggest you break that up, and what I would first do is I would go and open up my test, because you'll be given these preloads. So index and style, and I'll drag it into there. So I'll open it, and I suggest one of the first things you will do is you add a title of your name, and I would then also link my style sheet, just because a common mistake makes, oh, it's not working. In a test situation, you're wondering why your style sheet's not doing anything, and it's probably because you forgot to link it across. So just as your first step, I remember to link. All I did is I just dragged the style into the header section and I linked it. I did see a couple of people also coding outside of the sections that they should be. Now, I know that it has a header section. Remember, you set up your semantic tags to set up your layout. So I know it has a header section, it has a section, it then has a nav section, it then has a footer section. And inside the section, it has two articles, right? So article and then article. Okay, cool. Are we good so far? So now my base structure of my layout. I've got the header, I've got the two articles inside my section, I've got the nav, and I've got the footer. Now we need to position those where we want. Now, generally speaking, we work with absolute positioning, but our articles, I did mention, you'll see in the questions, our articles work with a kind of different. They are in line, so they position with each other, because they don't exact positioning. There's two of them, and they position next to each other. So that one's different. But the header section, nav, and footer, those are my base core layouts, and those we work with absolute. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set my properties of my header tag. So my header tag and my style, so it's a header, open curly brackets. Let me just zoom in a bit on that. Now I know my positioning is going to be absolute. Use control spacebar, please, guys. I see so many of you type everything. When you go control spacebar, it'll help you. You only need to start writing something, and then you make sure it's correct and just press enter. It makes your life a lot quicker. So I know at the top I want it to be 0 pixels. If we look at the picture, my header is 0 pixels from the top and 0 pixels from the left. Do you guys get that? Now, left is also 0 pixels, and then my width. Now, a lot of you guys, this is something that Gareth was telling me. If you use view width, that'll be fine. I'll give you full marks for that. But it does make the little border at the bottom, a little scroll panel at the bottom be available. So you can just say 100% width. And height, I don't really care. I don't know if this is 20%, 15%, 10%. I don't know, but it's smallish, right? It's like not the big majority of the page. So as long as it's kind of smallish, I'm happy. Does that make sense? I don't care if it's exact or not. And it says there, if you look at the instructions here, it says light gray outset border. The positioning and size are already taken out, and that's already considered. So background color, light gray. I know there's two light grays. I don't really care. I'm literally going to look at it and see is a gray sweet. It's not going to be too much beyond that. And it says border. Now for borders, this is remember I also got to try separate the more complex from the other one. So there's different control spacebar. Sorry, border width. The reason why we have to do border width, you won't see a border unless you put a border width. Okay, so and then border dash style is we want it outset, right? Now, just for interest's sake, I could then have now after the header, I'm now going to work at my next one. What we can do is, while doing this, you might want to open it just to test it. So, oops, wrong page, sorry. Oh, look, there we go, right? It looks, I've got the grey header area. Now we need the section area. So we go to the bottom, we now say section, open curly brackets. Again, we need these things, right? Actually, we need pretty much all of them. So, copy, paste, Control C, Control V. The position is absolute, but now the top is not 0 pixels. It starts, if we look at our question paper, our section starts after the header, and the width that uses up about majority of it, and this it uses up a percentage of it. So I kind of make it up, but I guess, so my top has to be directly after this. So this is a height of 20%, so the top of this should also be 20%. So it'll start where the other one finishes. The left of it is 0 pixels because it starts on that. The width is not the 100%, it's a, whatever, I don't care, it's a majority of it, but it's not all of it. So 70%, maybe let's make it 75%. It might make my life a bit more difficult later, but anyway. And the height is also a majority of it, so let's go, there's 20% of the top. Let's say this is 60%, and then the bottom footer could also be 20%. The footer looks smaller, so let's make this 70%. Or 65, whatever, it doesn't matter. And now does it tell me the color of the section? If I go to the question paper, it says there the color should be tan. So here, tan, sweet. Border, does it mention a border? No, it doesn't mention that, so I can just delete that. Done. Section done, I save it, I go to my page, I refresh my page by pressing F5 on my keyboard. I'm happy with that. I might want to move it down a little bit, but I'm not too fussed about that. Guys, I'm really not going to check details along those lines. So I might want to just change the top to 20.5% or something, just to try and move it down a bit, maybe a little bit more, 21%, F5. I'm okay with that. I'm not too fussed, right? Details like that, whatever. Okay. I do find HTML finicky sometimes, so I'm okay just to not. I'm not going to mark you guys to at all on this kind of fidgety stuff. Right. Now, moving on from there, we now have our section is done. We now need our nav tag, so we go nav, open curly brackets. Again, I can paste my stuff in there, and now I just need to change it to what I want for my side on the right. It starts over after the section area, and it starts after the thing. So my top would still be the same as my top here, so 20.77%. My left will now be after that, so this, the left of this, it's width of 75%, so this would be 70, it would start after 75%, because after my section area, it will then start, so its left position will be there. Its width is now the leftover, because if we look at this, it takes up the rest of the page. So if this is, the width of my section is 75%, then this would be 15%, is that right? No, 25%. Thank you. So 25%, and it says that the color should be of my nav orange. Okay. It doesn't mention anything about a border. It says display as set to inline block. Oh, okay. So my display is different. It's not a position. Like, oh. Nope, I'm on nav. Sorry, I'm not on article. I haven't done the articles yet. My bad. I didn't do an order of this questioning. Orange size positioning. So it says nothing about borders, so I can delete those. Okay. And then my footer green in those positions. Again, I'm just going to test this after I've done it. Ooh, what have I done wrong? My height. My footer, my height should be all the way down to here. So my height should match this height, which is 70%. Sweet. F5. Okay, so far we're nearly there. We need a footer. So footer, open curly brackets, enter, and and my footer needs to be Control V it. My top position is after everything, so if I add 20.7 plus okay, so 20.7 plus the height of this, which is 70%, so that's 90.7, so the top will be 90.7%. Do you guys get that? I'm just adding all the things that are above it. So above it is this plus this. This one starts only at 20.7, so the height of this is 70%, plus that will be here. And then the left position is 0 pixels, the width should be 100. Now the height is going to be what's left over. So I've got 20.7 plus 70%, which is 90.7%. So all the way to the bottom would be 9.3%. So the height of this should be 9.3. Do you guys get that? I know it's a bit quick maths, but if you add them together, it will go through. Now, if I go back, it tells me the color should be green. If I go to the question paper, the color says green. I don't know what it says about the border and stuff, so let's just read the question paper. Let's see what it says. It doesn't mention anything about border or whatnot, so delete. Sweet. So now I've got my base structure up. I just don't have my articles. But my base structure I'm happy with. There's a little bit of a borderline there, but I'm not fussed about things like that. I've got my base outline. So far we're good, right? And we are 10 minutes in. Now, the next thing we've got to do is we've got to add our article. And it says the article is contained in the section area. So we added our articles in here. You can see we've added them. There's 2 articles inside here. But now we need to put the layout of our article. So our article is going to be slightly different because it's going to have 2 of them and they float next to each other. So the way that it's displayed is an inline block. And that's mentioned in the question paper because then they can be in line with each other. And then the other things it states is size and position. Now, you'll see in the question paper something which I forgot to put there. There is a border of this of outset. And it takes up a majority, not quite all of my thing here. So I'm happy just to go... so I'm happy just to say width of about 25% maybe, height of about 50% estimate. I would then say border dash style, just because on the picture it showed me that. I'll say that as being outset, or whatever it asks, or let's try I don't care. Border dash width, it didn't specify. So let's just say 2 pixels, just so I can see what I'm doing here. Now, let's see what that looks like. F5. Whoa, too small. Okay, so let's say I want it to be 45%, and let's say 75%. Save, F5. Looks better, right? That I will give full marks for. The layout wise, so far. Do you guys get that? It's close enough. Don't sit there and make sure, oh, it looks exactly like the picture. I don't give a hoot. Does that make sense? I'm just trying to see, are you able to position things? Are you able to do that? Are you able to make stuff in line? Are you able to get the nav tag? That's what I'm checking. You guys get me? Okay, so don't spend ages trying to sit there and make sure it's exactly like that. It's really a waste of time. Alright, so now I've got my layout right, and all my formatting's done there. Now I need to add my content. So it says the image added and appropriate alternative text. There's 2 marks of order for that, though I forgot to put that over there. So now if we go to here, we need in our header, we want an image. But before I do that, I'm just going to show you, it looks like I've got that and that both in the header, so I need to separate them somehow. So I'm going to add a table into there, just so I can separate my image from my header. And there's multiple different ways of doing that. For me, I like to separate them with a table, but I don't care. As long as you got it separate, I don't care how you do it. So table, table row, TD. TD stands for table data, and I have 2 table datas there. So all I've done is I've created a table with 2 cells. So table with a table row, first cell, second cell. I need to add the image, so img src. Make use of your control spacebar. It is inside the image folder. Control spacebar, there's nothing inside the image folder. Haha. Memo image. There's a horse. Why is there no horse there?
There's 2 image files. One's inside a different folder.
Okay, there we go. Alright. Thank you, but I think it was just because I didn't save it, but Okay, so now I do realize what I've got. The reason why there's 2 image folders is because I've got the practice test where the preloads are, and then I've got a memo. So what I should actually do is I should separate these. Oh, I'm taking away from my time. I hope I'll still make it even though I'm taking away from my time. You should have a preloads folder, and then there's a memo folder, just so we have it separate there. I think I was working from the preloads, not from the memo. Oops. That'll be quite fun. Let's see if I was. Ooh, I'm still taking away from my time. I've been working from the preloads folder, so the preloads has the memo in it, and the memo folder has the preloads in it. That's fun. Okay. Okay. So horse, and then so we'd have the image horse, and it does say there's a mark for an alternative text. And the reason why is some people choose not to download images to make their load time faster, but also it's when you hover mouses and different things can actually use it. So horse picture, just some meaningful alternative image there is for a mark, and then it wants a heading of it's like quite a big heading of saying header, and I'm happy with that. So let's take a look at my image displays, because I've been playing around with it. Alright, so I've got my image. It's too big at the moment because so my header's being pushed down at the bottom. So what I can do is in my style sheet, I'd now go and I'll just say what I can do is I can say for my header image, I want it to be width of, let's say, 20%, and which means 20% of its cell height of let's say 40%. I don't know what this is going to look like, but it doesn't matter, we'll see. Also I want to make my table, so in my header I want to make the table, I want the width of the table to be 100%. So in other words, the width of it's going to take up all of the table, all of the row. So let's just go F5 this. Sweet. I got the picture of the horse, I've got header. It doesn't look exactly like this, but again, I'm not fussed about details. I wanted a horse and I wanted a header. Does that make sense? So horse, header. I'm good. I'm good with this. Now, I'm not going to play around with it anymore because that is the level that I want you guys to do. I want you to be able to separate things, and I want you to be able to put things in different locations. That's what I was testing there. We now move down. It says the header 1 test links. Now the links is another part. That's a little bit tricky to get right. But with that, it's inside our nav section, and we've got the different links that we should have there is our home, page 1, page 2. So we go there and we say unordered list, list item, and we want 3 list items. We first want our href. Our first list item is going to link to index.html. Our other pages don't exist yet. We'll add them later, but it doesn't mean you can't. Just because they don't exist yet doesn't mean that you can't do them. I can still go and say I can just change this to page 1.html. When I create page 1.html, it will link to it. And our next one here is page 2.html. Okay, so we've got that, but now our style sheet is where we need to actually work with creating it into those links. Now, if you go to nav, nav list, unordered list, you want the list style option, so list control spacebar. Oh, look at that. Control spacebar comes with what I need. List style type, none. Okay, my list style type is none. We take a look at our options here. We then have a nav list URL list items. You don't work with that, you work with the A tag. And you now say my A tag should be a display block with a width. Now it's very important, if you say list item here, it means that the whole block will not be clickable. Only the text will be clickable. If you say A, it means the whole block will be clickable that you've made, making the hyperlink a block. You're not making the list item a block, you're making the hyperlink. Do you guys follow me on this? Yeah, I know I'm going through this quickly. We will now width is of the cell that it's in, it's probably about, let's just say about 75% of the cell that it's in. Its height, it's quite a small height, so let's just make the height 25 pixels. And background color, let's make it, what does it doesn't specify, but it looks grayish. So grayish, semicolon, and then what I would do is nav ul a full colon hover, which means when the mouse moves over it, and then I'll just change the background color to be, let's say, I'll check if it specifies just now. If it specifies, I'll change this. But let's make it blue. So let's just read the question, see if it specifies anything. Unordered list, whole block hyperlinks to destination, on hover, background changes, put article nav text, title horses. Cool. So let's press F5. Bad, fail, epic. Yeah, I've got my grey thing here. It's in a list, but it's not doing what I want it to do. So I've obviously done something wrong. Oh, thank you. That's one issue on the hover. Okay, so the hover works, and my list is working, but the width and the height of the block is kind of not working. So let's try, just for interest, let's just see if it is pulling through the height on the. Okay, so the height's now coming through. I look at the question paper. Okay, the text is centered. So let's also try to get the text centered here. So text, align, center, F5. That there, I'm happy with. That looks good enough. It changes color. It's enough area there. I could put padding. The reason why this is different to here is if I wanted it off the top for your guys' project, is because of padding. Your test, I'm not going to be that strict on, but padding of that would allow you to do that for your projects. Your projects, I will care about aesthetically pleasing. I do not care about aesthetically pleasing for a test. I'm just trying to see, are you able to get your basic structures on there? Are you able to do something? And actually, so I can have a practical test. You guys understand? Okay. Now moving on from there, I only have 5 minutes left, I think, of my time limit. Moving on from there, I want my, it says there, footer, article, and nav text. So I need a footer, article, and nav text. So there should be a nav text here, footer text there. So just in my index, my article, I'll want text saying head article 1. And I'd also want text here saying article 2. I would want here text saying nav, copy paste, guys. And then what else do I want? Is that it? Footer, thank you. Footer. And I think what I can do is I can make all my H1s just be aligned center, because I think that's kind of what it looks like it is. Looks like all of them are kind of aligned center. So what I can do is then in my style sheet, just say all heading 1s. So my heading 1 tags, I want it to be a text align center, semicolon. I go to my document, I press F5, nav, header, footer, article, sweet. That to me is 100%. I've got everything working. That's the test. I've done it. The time now is 9:12. We started at what time? At 8:50, right? Ish. So 22 minutes that it was done. And I understand I am quicker because I've been doing kind of IT stuff, but I am not a web developer by any means. I prefer Java coding and app coding. But it is important when you think about things, you just, especially test situations, you get the structure up, you worry about the main sense of the marks before you get the, okay, finicky details. Now, if I wanted to, I could go and I could fiddle and I could make the padding of this a bit higher if I have time left over at the end of the exam. Does that make sense? You don't sit there and go, oh, my link buttons aren't 100% perfect. If you get stuck with something and it's not looking exactly like it is meant to look there, move on. Does that make sense? So you get your base marks there and stuff. Because a lot of the times, what bugs me about in practical exams in IT, in a test you learn to move on. But for some reason in practicals, you're like, if it's not running, it's not 100% correct, so therefore I won't move on. And you also got to learn that you move on. If you're battling with something, you move on. You just get the rest of the stuff in there, because there is such a thing as a 60% in a practical exam. But often I find people either get 30% or they get 80%. Because when they get stuck on something, they're just like doomed. So you must learn just to move on from something if you're battling with it. Does that make sense? Okay. Goodbye, guys.